come into this room and I say that I've walked into my dream, because my dream 10 years ago was to walk into a session like this, not filled with people who are my countrymen, but people who are across the border. And look around you now. This is my dream from 10 years ago. So is it achievable? Yes. Is it? Yes. Is it easy? Is it easy? Are you willing to put in the work for 10 years? Are you willing? But 10 years passes like this. Because the same time, 10 years ago, I was holding my first baby in my hands, my daughter. Same time. And now she comes and tells me what she wants. You know what it's like to have a 10-year-old? She comes and tells me exactly what she was describing the birthday party that she wants. She was now my daughter tries to explain to me the mathematics that she's doing for her homework. That's how quickly 10 years goes. Those of you who are parents, you know what it's like to hold a baby in your hands. And then it feels like you just turned around and came back. And now this child is almost your height and is speaking to you and telling you what to do. So for those of you who are young in this room and think 10 years is too long, oh no, I'm not going. A little bit of work every day over that period of time will yield the results that you are looking for. So, we're going to do some work. Welcome to Centonomy. Welcome, and those, I saw some wonderful folks online. Thank you. I wanted to just recognize that we have a huge group of people online. What number are we at? We're almost at 300 people who are viewing this online. Hi to the entire online team. I wanted to just give a shout out to Vuguziga, who said in the chat box, I read it there. Vuguziga said, I'm already transformed by watching those videos. Well done. You're on the journey already. Then there was someone else in the chat box who followed Vuguziga and said, this is Mukisa. And he said, what is Centonomy all about? Don't worry, you're in the right room to find out what we are about. Now, for those who are in the hall, please get up on your feet. For those who are in the chat box, please type in the chat box. Those who are online, please type in the chat box where you are around the world. Because I do recognize that, yes, we have folks from everywhere in Uganda, but I do also recognize that there are some who are zooming in from different places around the world. One of our first Ugandan students was actually Ugandan who is in Tokyo, in Japan. And she used to come into the class at 3 a.m. in Japan to be in the class to learn about money from that side. That's the hunger that's in the room. Now, for those who are in the room, those who are online, I hope you're typing where you are in the world. Very good. Now, for those who are in the room, I want you to turn to somebody next to you and tell them where you keep your kamani. Where do you store your kamani? Where do you store it? Tell your neighbor. Tell your neighbor, where do you keep your kamani? Where is it stored? And after they've told you where it is, ask them, is it growing? Where you keep your kamani, is it growing? And is it growing at a certain level? What level is it growing at? Okay. Now this is the hardest question. And this one will make you uncomfortable. Turn to your neighbor and tell them how much you are worth financially. Oh, wait. Sorry. Wait, hold on. Don't tell them yet. I can see the discomfort and I can see that people were about to tell lies. Let me stop you. Just don't tell lies. Don't tell lies. Have a seat. Thank you so much for those who are in the room. Now, why did I start off with this? Because there are a lot of emotions that come around our issue of money. Because money, to some extent, gives us a sense of pride. It gives us a sense of direction. And it also gives us a sense of, I am slightly better than the person next to you. My African brothers and sisters, do you know how we normally arrive for meetings? Do you know how you judge people? By the vehicle in which they arrived. Eh? And then in case you didn't see the vehicle in which they arrived, what else do we start judging them on? Or the what? The phone that they are holding. To what level? Does it have 3 cameras in a triangle shape? Or, especially these people on social media. You know this, let me tell you. Anyway, does it have a specific brand? And then, ladies, I loved it. Then you start looking at the rest of it, isn't it? What shoes did they walk in with? Which label can I be able to see? And apparently that gives us a sense of our worth. But it doesn't really. I'll tell you a short story and then begin the session. This past year, I had the privilege of meeting an actual billionaire. And when I say a billionaire, I don't mean in Kenya shillings. I don't mean in Uganda shillings. I mean in US dollars. So I want you to do $1 billion in USD in Uganda shillings. How much is that? A lot of money. So he walked into our office and nobody even noticed. He came. He sat in the room with us and began to explain what he does. He was pitching to us. During the meeting, as he was talking, he began to explain some of the businesses. He's from Nigeria. He began to explain some of the businesses that he has run and is currently a shareholder in. And you can just begin to see how the blood, we are black Africans, as you can see, just like you. Suddenly we were all becoming more and more white. Because we began to realize that this person who is seated in the room with us essentially could own half of our biggest companies across Kenya. But when he walked in the room, my phone is more expensive than his. The shoes that he wore, very simple. The outfit, very simple. You would never know. And you know why he walked with that confidence? Because he has nothing to prove to us. But we, the middle class, we must prove to everybody that we meet who we are. I don't know about you, but have you ever been part of I know we use WhatsApp group for fundraising, isn't it? Have you ever been part of a WhatsApp group? This is what happens to me. You can see somebody has posted, there's one of our relatives, they are sick, they're in hospital, we need to raise funds, isn't it? And you're probably in 2 or 3 of those groups. Now, I don't know if you're like me, and you wait till the first person gives their contribution, isn't it? And when you see they have given to the level of 15,000, then you know this is the 15,000 group. And you give 15,000. Now, the problem is if you're in certain WhatsApp groups and the first person gives 100,000, then do you know that you cannot follow? I don't know. Are you like me? You cannot follow that with an immediate contribution of the same amount. So you wait until you see the person who has given, then you quickly give. Why? Because we're letting someone else decide for us where our money is going to go. In case you did not know, ladies and gentlemen, let me inform you today. Everybody has a plan for your money, including me. My only question is, do you have a plan for yours? Because if you're following my plan, I assure you, I want to sell you many things. I have books I've come to sell you. I have programs that I've come to sell you. But if it's not part of your plan, you'll find yourselves in trouble. So, to those who are asking online and were asking, what is Centonomy all about? Our mission as Centonomy is to shift mindsets so that purposeful people can create wealth and live abundantly. Now, how do we do this, ladies and gentlemen? We do this through a program, and it is a class, and it is called Centonomy 101. It is a 12-week online program that will help you to do a few things. Number one, it'll teach you how to manage your money. Now, please understand this. I recognize that I'm speaking to adults. This is adult education. And in adult education, we don't come to preach or to teach. We come to share. Because in the classroom, you'll recognize that in this room, for example, everyone here, if we were to add up all the knowledge that is facing me, it far surpasses mine. But I come with tools that will help you tweak the way that you save, that you budget, and that you build. How to manage your money. Number 2, it is how to invest. So how do the investment work, and how are they going to get you towards your goal? Number 3 is to protect your money. Because many of us work very hard, and you may have a salary that is earning you. You may have a business that is earning you money. But it feels like that money just comes in and does what? Goes out. And we're going to learn how to make sure that we protect it and it stays within our families and grow. And last but not least, we're going to put all the knowledge that you have learned over the 12 weeks into a 5-year financial plan. Now, the wonderful folks who are seated on here who have been in the class, if you're in the first group, wave at me for the Centonomy 101 class. You've just finished your graduating. You're on this side. Excellent. They're all seated here, and I know there are a few more who are coming. They'll tell you about their experiences. They now have taken that knowledge and put it into action. So action plans that you're going to take over the next 5 years. That's what Centonomy does. So we are an education and content company on personal finance and entrepreneurship. We want to empower you to make decisions. Now, let me explain the difference. When the bank comes to you to teach you about money, what do you think the bank wants to do? They want you to do what? To invest in the bank. So it is not of great interest to them to tell you about other investment opportunities like government bonds or real estate or any other options that are there. So when a banker comes to tell you about personal finance, the solutions to your personal finance issues are what? The bank. Now, if I'm a real estate agent and I come to teach you and I'm coming to sell you property, all your financial problems will be solved by what? Property. If I'm an insurance broker, and I come to teach you and I come to speak to you about insurance, all your problems will be solved by what? Insurance. But in the Centonomy 101 program, we have a holistic plan, and it covers 12 modules that you're going to go through. In this program, we talk about personal financial management, time value of money, and each one of these is taught by an industry expert. And they're coming to teach you not so that you can purchase, but so that you have the ability to choose the right investment to match your goal. In fact, if you're taking notes and we are in class, here's the first note to write down. I know that there are some people who came into this room. Wave at me if it is you and write, I am the one in the chat box online. You came in the room to find out which is the best investment. Are you here? Anyone here who wanted to find out the best investment? Good. Your answer is coming just now. Write this down. The best investment is the one that matches your goal. Did you hear what I said? The best investment is the one that matches your goal. So if you do not have a goal, I cannot tell you which is the best investment to match that goal. So in the class, we're going to learn a few things about planning, and in so doing, it sets goals. So, anyone here a parent who wants their children to go to university? Wave at me. You're a parent, you want your children to go to university. Hi, how are you doing? Which university? Makerere. How much will it cost? Yeah. About 21 million. For how many children? For one. How many are you sending? 3. So how much will it cost? Because it will not be the same price for each one of them. On 80 million. So first of all, you are one of the best, you have given me one of the best answers to that question. I don't know how many other parents in the room knew which university that we are going to. But you knew it. Now, because you know it's Makerere, in how many years? They are still very young. But the problem, here's the thing. If it is 80 million today, it will not be 80 million 18 years from now because of what? Inflation. So in the class, we're going to spend time in module 2 doing time value of money, you'll be able to adjust for inflation so that now you'll be able to say if it is 80 million, maybe it'll be, let me just do a quick calculation, maybe it'll be about 300 million by the time they are going to school. And if it's 300 million in 18 years, you'll be able to work backwards and say, how much do I need to be investing today in order to have the money ready when they are going to school? But we cannot do that calculation unless she knows which university. Because if it is Makerere, there's no problem. But what if it's the University of Cape Town? That's your dream. Do you see Harvard? I had it on this side. Hey, how much is Harvard today? Do you know? You have no idea, but you want them to go to Harvard. How do you go somewhere you don't know? How? So let me help you. It's about $60,000 a year. Times 4. $240,000 today per child. Do you see what we are doing? We have set a specific goal, and we're going to do a specific plan to go to where? To Harvard, which is different from the plan to go to Makerere. So which one is it? Which one do you want? Because if you make the plan for Makerere, you will not be in the same plan as her to go to Harvard. Are we together? So in the class, you are empowered to make specific financial goals and then say, okay, now here's the thing. How much interest do you earn in your savings account at the bank? This one, no one needs to hide. In the bank, you'll get how much? Not, it cannot be zero. In your savings account, please change your bank immediately. At least there are some banks that will give you a better return than that. Please. So about how much per year will you get? About how much? 2%? So between 2 and 5% depending on the banks that you select and depending on how long you're going to lock that money. Good. Let's do a quick calculation. How much is inflation in Uganda per year? Anyone know? So the government is telling you that it is about 5%. Okay, good. Your money in the bank is growing at what rate? 2, and everything else is getting more expensive by how much? 5. So what is actually happening to the value of your money in the bank? Now, can I please stop you right there? Because I know there's someone who's saying, hey, let me remove my money from the bank. No, 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 no. The bank is a very good instrument. For what? For security and access. So if I need my money from the bank today, I can go and get it, isn't it? That's right. So in the class, I'll be talking to you about 2 different goals, saving and investing. For saving, the bank is very good. Why? Because in saving, I don't need a return. I just need to get if I need the money, I can get it. But for investment for Makerere and for Harvard, I need my money to do what? To grow, to multiply, to develop. And so we need to select an investment that is going to get us to that goal. Are we together? So for those who are asking, what is Centonomy all about? We are an education company that is going to help you to build wealth. And we do it through, as I said, this 12-week program that is holistic. It is not just about one area of finance. It gives you a holistic view that is going to get you towards your goal. And during this session, we're going to learn a lot more about the program as we go forward. Our mission, as I said earlier on, is to shift mindsets so that purposeful people like yourselves can create wealth and live abundantly. That's what we want to do. Now, many times when you go into sessions about money, you hear save, save, save. And you almost hear, when do I start living? Isn't that a question we ask? When do we start living? When do I start traveling? Now, as you can see in our mission statement, we are talking about living abundantly. It is not, you cannot, as our founder, Washeke Ndwati, says, you cannot shrink into greatness. You cannot. You must grow. And what we have is a balanced approach where we want you to live abundantly today. But it is not the same thing as YOLO. Does anyone know what YOLO stands for? You only live once, and so people live anyhow they feel. That's dangerous. Hey, you only live once, but what if you're still living 50 years from now? What will you eat? So in the Centonomy program, we have a balanced approach. We want you to live abundantly today, but we don't want that to be at the cost of the abundant life tomorrow. So we give you that balance through the program, and I'll be explaining more about it even as we go through this session. So we want you to live abundantly. I have one more question for you, and then we're going to get to our first speaker of the day, who's going to come and share their experiences. And we learn from everybody, that we learn from one another even as we go through. I want you to shout out at me when you have been saying wealth, wealth, wealth for the last 10 minutes. What is wealth? Shout out at me. Wealth is freedom. Wealth is abundance. Wealth is stability. Hey. Now I'm speaking to an African. She has said it. Wealth is property. Thank you. Good. What else? What else is wealth? Peace of mind. What else? What else is wealth? Health. What else? Prosperity. Thank you. What else? Time. Thank you. I'm very surprised. No, thank you. I was wondering, where is the money person in the room? I thought money is one of the things. So, if we begin our discussions about wealth, and she's thinking health, she's thinking money, he's thinking prosperity, somebody else is thinking property, are we going to have a meaningful discussion? No, because our definitions are not together. So I am not saying that your definition is wrong. In fact, I'm very surprised. In a group of Africans, nobody said children. Nobody said cows. Houses. I was wondering, cows. Oh, you did? I didn't hear. You didn't shout loud enough. So I was waiting. If we have a discussion about wealth and we are all thinking different things, then it will not be meaningful. Now, I am not saying that your definition is wrong. So keep prosperity, keep health, keep all the definitions that you have because that's yours. But for the sake of our discussion today, I want us to use this one definition, please. And this is the one that we use in the class that I hope you're going to follow along. Wealth is the ability to live the lifestyle that you want without having to work. That one hit home somewhere here at the front. Okay, good. Now, I'm going to I hope you've written it down. I'm going to break the definition down as we go. The ability to live the lifestyle that you want. So what do you want? So, madam, because you're my best friend now, you said you want to travel. To where? Where do you want to travel?
To London.
To London?
Yeah.
Good. When?
On my 30th birthday.
Which is, now we are going to know when that is coming. But it's okay, since you've already said it, when it's coming up. Almost there. There we go. She said it's in the next 2 months. I'm sorry. Unless you had planned from last year, it is highly unlikely. But is there anything stopping her from traveling to London next year? No. Okay. How much does it cost to travel to London? Your entire budget? 15 million Uganda shillings. Let's do mathematics. Everybody with your calculator. Let's go. It's July. What is your birthday? 11th July. You're just close to me. 30th July is mine. So we are July babies. Don't worry. Good. So how many months between now and your 31st? Your 30th we have missed. I'm sorry. It has gone. We have 13 months. Good. Excellent. So we have a budget of 15 million shillings to travel. And we have how many months? 13. So how much is that per month? 1.1. It's there. Are we ready? 1.15. Good. What can we do to get 1.15 million in a month? What can we do? What could you sell to get 1 million shillings in a month? Don't sell your children. No, please. We are not advocating for slavery here, please. No. What can you do? Your kidneys? No. We are not doing any surgeries in this room. What can you do? What could you do to earn 1 million shillings in a month? What could you do? Yeah. Public speaking? Yes. What else? Tutoring? Yeah. What else? Selling what? Forex? I don't know about that. No. Insurance? Okay. Are you an insurance broker? No, so it can't help. Sorry. Wait. She can sell what? Clothes. Door to door. Okay. Watch what has happened. Because we set the goal. What was the goal? To travel to London, and the budget is how much? 15 million shillings. We now begin to see what is the process of getting there. Okay. So maybe your 31st birthday is too close. What if we added another 12 months? What would we need to do? So 12 plus 13 is 25. So 15 million divided by 25 is how much? 600. What could you do to earn 600 in a month? Babysitting. Do more laundry. Why aren't you doing it? Why? We say we want certain things, but are we willing to make the choice? I know that it is possible because I have seen it in my own life. Can I explain it to you? And this was the biggest challenge for me. There's a friend of mine. She used to work here. She's now a CEO of her own company. She used to work at Centonomy. When she was 26, her and her girlfriends decided we are going on a trip to Europe. And they saved for 1.5 years to go on a trip. And the next thing that we saw was this lady, she's called Wendy, on a flight and sending us photos. We are here in front of the Eiffel Tower. We are here in front of the Leaning Tower of Pizza. She did it, but it didn't happen overnight. But now that you've set your goal, and I asked you, what would you have to do? You now gave me an answer. Before that, it was generally just out there somewhere. So here's your assignment. Write it down. Share it on your social media. I am traveling to London in July of 2027. Follow me on this journey. Watch what has just happened. She has also included an element of accountability. Because somebody now will ask us, and why don't we put our dreams down? Because suddenly we'll be accountable for them, even to ourselves. Sometimes we don't want to write it down because if we write it down, it becomes real. It's no longer a dream. And then now somebody will ask us, and you've come with your friends, I can see. They will ask you next year, how far are we doing? How far are we going? And unless we write it down, we cannot do it. So first of all, the ability to live the lifestyle that you want. So you must define what you want first. Second, and this one is the one where we misunderstand wealth, without having to work. Now let me finish on this. If you do not have assets put money in your pocket. Watch this. You don't have to work when you have sufficient assets that are generating enough money to pay you to live whether you work or not. Wealthy people have what? Assets. I want to ask you a personal question. Now, this one is not for telling your neighbor. I want you to write down in front of you, wherever you're doing on your phone or whatever it is, how many of the things that you own put money in your pocket? How many? Does your sofa set? Does your TV? Does your car put money in your pocket? Hey, homeowners, I know there are a few homeowners in this room. Do your homes put money in your pocket? We're going to have a discussion about that. Because if we are so busy spending and never building assets that will put money in our pocket, we will never achieve financial freedom. And that's what we're working towards. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm so excited because we have quite a few people who are in the room who are here to come and share their experiences and to tell us what how their wealth creation journey has happened. And the first one who's coming up to share her story is now one of my good friends here in Uganda. Put your hands together for Daisy Sunshine as she comes to share her experiences, to share what she has learned that we can learn together. Welcome, Daisy. Yes, welcome.
Wow. Okay. Good morning, everybody. My name is Daisy. The government knows me as Daisy Prim Businje Kisache. You probably know me as Daisy Sunshine. I hope you can hear me in the back. Okay. What an amazing way to spend our Saturday learning about money so we can spend it. Okay. All right, while I wait for my slides, it's okay. I want to share our financial journey. I am married to one amazing, handsome, tall, dark, and handsome man. He's there in the back trying to hide. He's an introvert. Babe, just wave like this. Yeah, that's my husband. I know he's going to be a bit nervous about some of the things that I'm going to share, but babe, it's Kawari. So my husband and I have had our fair share of baptism by fire when it comes to money. We got married straight out of campus. We were young, 23-year-olds, full of big dreams and satisfied from the pampering that our parents did. And we were completely oblivious of the burden of paying bills, increasing bills. All right, thank you. So, yeah, we got married in love and ready to live our best lives. We had very different backgrounds. He has amazing parents who raised him to work hard, smart, and pray for the things they wanted. There's a story that he once told me where there was bikes, you know those blue bikes that they used to sell at Nakawa Market? He was praying for those bikes until he outgrew them. So that's how he was raised. My husband still remembers all those things, and I was raised by equally amazing parents who taught us to work hard, smart, and pray for the things that we wanted. Only that, they always, or most of the time, granted our wishes. I'm not a spoiled child, but yeah. What that made me is a girl who knows that her parents will give her what she wants within reason. For context, many of the people who went to school with me or any of my siblings thought that we were only children. I've lost my train of thought. So, how my husband was raised made him a planner, a futuristic thinker, but also he has a number of YOLO moments. What that made me was a YOLO girl. So in our first year of marriage, we mostly saved, paid bills, and had very many YOLO moments. We used to shop for our tomatoes and onions in Capital Shoppers. Like, who did we think we were? The turning point was COVID. When my husband's contract came to an end, we had just sold our car, thinking we were going to buy another one. And we all know how that season was. What do you think happened to that money? Yeah, you guessed right. We ended up using that money for rent, our day-to-day expenses, and when that was depleted, we sunk our hands into our savings, which we had diligently amassed over time. And at that point, we had a son. So, with so many thereaffairs in the COVID season from our dear president, we depleted that money, and life got realer than real. My husband once told me in that season, babe, all I have to my name right now is 7K. Do we buy food or diapers? That is a tricky place for a couple to be in, right? I was pregnant with our second. I think that's where my money trauma stems from. That season informed my trauma. I dreaded having financial conversations, money dates, because I hate to see money leaving the bank and there's nothing coming back in. So I would rather bury my head in the sand like an ostrich. I remember crying so much the night before my birthday in 2021 because I feared that for the first time in my life, I wouldn't be able to celebrate my birthday. But somehow my husband made it happen. I don't know how he did it. In that season, with our last chunk of savings, we made the grave mistake of investing in a tomato farm. It drank all our money. Nothing came back, and I hate farming for that reason. As sad and hopeless as such dilemmas sound, I have learned that they slowly show us the glory of God, who is able to get us out of such sticky situations. It's from those months of despair that our businesses were birthed. So I have learned that discomfort allows us the privilege of growth. We were completely out of our comfort zones, but lucky for us, and I know that this is a privilege, our parents were able to shield us, they supported us, and showed us the power of community. Today, we are slowly but surely digging ourselves out of that pit of debt. We have learned many lessons about stewarding the money that God has given us, building back our emergency fund, making low-risk investments, and saving. So I have no idea what stage of our story you're at, but if you're in the pit, first of all, don't be afraid to talk about money, but also it's not the end of the world. You can recover from it. That's something that we have learned. If you look at us today, you cannot think that we once had only 7,000 to our name. Yeah. So I wrote down there that the moral of the story is if you don't tell money where to go, it will go anywhere, and you might not be able to trace it. Because we had some money, and my husband said, okay, let's make an investment now that I'm not working anymore. And someone sold him the dream of tomatoes. It looked nice. He showed me the numbers, but I looked at them. I said, babe, are you sure? And indeed, our money sank in there. So, number one lesson that we learned from that season was money stays where it is respected. We honestly did not respect money. And I love that we got married young, but I know that we're also disadvantaged because if we got married now, in our 30s, we would have handled money so differently. It felt so nice to walk into Capital Shoppers. You have tomatoes in there, caveras, you have the muesli, but can you afford it? We were living a lifestyle that we couldn't afford. And we also needed to evaluate our mindset. Begin at the root. I grew up in abundance. My husband grew up in, let's not spend. Then once in a while, when you see the money as a must, you spend it. So begin at the root. What made us who we are? What brought us where we are? What has informed the way that we handle money? And where did you learn poverty? I remember in that season, my husband said, babe, I think we are poor. I had never heard that word, and I never want to hear it again. Because when you are familiar with something, you know how they say Uganda is a poor country? Every time they say that, I say, no, I'm not poor. Because once my mindset goes there, why should I wake up early in the morning to work? Why should I think of another business to start? While I was preparing, I once heard an analogy of babies were put in a tank that had snakes. And they were okay. They were just seated there. One baby even picked up a snake and beat it because they have not been taught to fear snakes. Who has taught us to fear money? That was a question that we needed to ask ourselves. So now I'm still risk averse, but to a certain degree, in a healthy way. I'm not afraid to take risks after we have calculated them. I know that tomato business was bad. Money personalities. It was important for us to learn our money personalities and let the person that is stronger in handling it, handle it. I know that I'm a spender. If I see money in the bank, I'm going to spend it. While I'm scrolling on Instagram, I see something nice, I'm going to tick, and they will deliver. So now I don't keep my money on the bank. I will only leave what we need to survive, to have my meetings, the rest goes to a unit trust. My husband is more disciplined. He's more disciplined, but he's also future thinking. So you'll find that he has invested in the business what he would have invested maybe in a year, in one day. Because he's seeing the dream, he's seeing the future. So now we know our money personalities, so we handle money better. Also, unity in finances. Our philosophy for our marriage is his money, my money is our money. So I would encourage every couple to learn how you want to handle your money as a couple and be united in that. Because if I am he doesn't know that I have 5 million now. He doesn't know that these guys have paid me this much. How is our money going to grow if we're not united in how we're going to spend it? Tracking our expenses, this is something that I have started this year because I want to know where my money is going. You find that you're paying 5 delivery guys in a day. You're paying each of them 10,000. That is 50K that has gone. Yet you could have told them, hold off, you can send it to me when I'm at work on Monday. So the cost is cheaper. Or you can go pick it up. So tracking our finances has helped me, the spendthrift, so that I can know, okay, I'm eating out too much. Maybe have breakfast at home and go and have water in the restaurant. This one was a tough one. You're a thief if you're stealing from your business. Whether you're a content creator, you're selling clothes, you're a thief if you're stealing from your business. The profit is not the money that is yours. It's the business's money. So now I have learned that even my content creation, Daisy Sunshine, the brand, ought to pay me a certain amount. Not all the money that I get is mine. We have also learned to plan, break it down, evaluate, and automate. I will not easily pick money from my bank account and deposit it on my unit trust. So why not put a standing order for that? I know I don't enjoy market shopping, so if the shopping is left to me, I will shop in Capital Shoppers. But my husband enjoys market shopping, so we divide and conquer. So know what your strengths are. When I was researching about Centonomy, I landed on an interview that you did, and you said that you and your wife once discovered that you were spending a lot of money eating out, and it was cheaper to hire a chef at home to cook for you the gourmet meals, but you're not spending money in the restaurant. So break it down, plan, evaluate. If you don't, you will not know where your money is going. And I feel like many people who earn a salary are prone to this because, on 30th, I'm getting money. So you can spend it anyhow, but at the end of the day, you'll not have money. We now also have money debts where we talk about our money. There are conversations that I don't like. We actually sit down and, babe, we have no money. School is starting and we have not paid school fees, like the honest, brutal conversations. What have we done in this season that has led us here? Why are we planning for school fees the day before the kids go to school? It's like you didn't know your children were going to school in January. So now we are planning better. We also now have dream together dates. It's a time we went to a neighborhood that we want to live in, and we decided to walk around and see those nice houses. See how the architecture in that area has a different architecture. I always thought, I want to build no offense, in Chira, but but there is not much room for creativity there because so many people have now built there. And my husband was trying to sell me the dream of this other area. And indeed, when I went there, I was able to align with his dream, and now we can dream together. How much is land in that area? Which side of the hill do we want to live in? Discomfort is good. Discomfort is good. If you are in debt, sit down and ask yourself now, how do we learn? What do we learn from this? How do we make sure we don't get back to this place? Invest in other economies, not just in Uganda. So many insurance companies are now selling us unit trusts. What about you? What about if you bought a unit trust in another economy, or even in another currency? So explore that. If you're single, this is my advice: marry someone you can trust with your life. You don't want to be hiding money for the rest of your life. You don't want to be paying for rent in a house that you own just because you married someone you don't trust. If you're single, please take that. Yeah, so that is our story and our experience. I am happy to take any questions.
Let me just say something as you stand there. It is not easy to share like that about your own life, to tell people about the difficulties. Can we give her a hand, and her husband as well? Thank you so much. Any questions before we move on? Anyone's got it? Quickly. Yeah.
Thank you so much. My question, I need to understand how to respect money. I hear it, but I don't quite get it. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. For us, we are Christians, so depending on your denomination. So once money comes in, we pay a tithe off of it. We invest and save. I learned very quickly that if you have to pay yourself back. If you don't pay yourself, if you buy a bag, have you paid yourself? I always believed that if I bought a bag, I've paid myself. But you haven't. You have paid the person who has sold you the bag. Yeah. That's it. That money is gone. There's a season last year when I was really stressed. I need retail therapy. And I went and bought a Coach bag. I didn't even tell my husband. I told him after the thought, babe, I made a mistake. I bought a bag, but it's coming. But I still hold the bag. Yes, I feel happy, but that money is gone. So we have learned to invest, to save, and then to budget. How much do we spend on groceries as a family? We didn't know that for the longest time. Food is done, okay, we go and shop. Yeah, so that's how we apportion our money.
I just want to add to that. So we actually have the first module of Centonomy 101. We'll learn about money management. So many times we think, I don't know about you, does this resonate to your budgeting plan? This is how we used to budget in our home. How much are you bringing? That amount, good. How much are you bringing? Good. Okay, which apartment can we afford? All right. Then which schools can our children go to? And then where can we go shopping? So we're basing our planning on the income amount. All right? And still there was money left that was disappearing somewhere that we didn't know. In the class, you'll actually work the way Daisy has mentioned it now. You'll start off by seeing where your money actually goes. If you don't know where your money goes, like many of us don't know how much we give our relatives. You know, if there's a wedding, you just give. If there's a funeral, you just give. If somebody needs school fees, you just give. Especially our parents who live, you know, the ones who live up country, when they call you, you just, without a plan. Now that means that there's money that's leaving your pocket that's out of control. And we'll give you a tool to help you to manage that. Is that okay? We'll take one more question over here. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. I'd like to ask, how do you track your expenses?
As simple as writing them down in my notes. I know there are apps, but I've had those apps many times and I have not been disciplined with putting the money there. But now, just on my notes app, I have monthly income, how much money has come in May, from who, what are the expenses, so how much money we need to spend on food, whatever I'm contributing to, and then my unit trust, what I break down everything. If I go out, I'm going to put how much I have spent, even the transaction charge. So I break it down as basically as that. And then at the end of the month, I'm going to go down and evaluate, you know what, I spent a lot on my wardrobe this month. So I'm not buying clothes for the next 3 months because I have clothes. Oh, actually, something I didn't mention was I had to learn to create a capsule closet because I was spending so much on buying clothes because my clothes were not matching. But now I can have this blazer, wear it with these pants. Tomorrow I can wear the same blazer with a different skirt and you might not know, without the brooch, and you might not know. So empower yourself with how you can make the things that you have work for you, especially for us women. We want to look good, we shall spend on shoes, we shall spend on clothes just so we can look good. But how can you do that in a smart way? My husband will wear the shoes he was wearing on our wedding day, but I will not. So empower yourself with knowledge on how to make the things that you have work for you.
Can we give Daisy a hand? Thank you so much. Daisy, before you go, how can we find you online?
Find me on social media. I am Daisy Sunshine Official everywhere. And my website is coming up soon, www.thedaisysunshine.com.
Thank you. You must give that plug everywhere we go. Daisy Sunshine Official. Thank you for sharing your journey. So even as she was speaking, I was just like, these are the things, if we only practice them, they'll begin to make a difference in our lives. And we talk about how do you respect your money? It's actually by knowing where things are going and by making choices that are going to build us up. I think, Daisy, you prophesied over our dear sister who's seated here in the front row. I always recognize those people who make a sacrifice in their lives. And this lady who I'm about to speak about has made a major sacrifice in her life. When we were setting up the hall at the beginning of this session, she was here with us, ready, prepared. And I want patients to stand up, if you don't mind. At 8 a.m., she was seated in the hall, waiting for this session to start. Patients, where did you come from this morning? Mukodong, all the way. And she was here before us. We were feeling very ashamed. So patients, because of that hard work that you have done, 50% of the program for you. Guys, show up. So please, and I know the team is going to help out, you're going to get a 50% discount on the program as you did have a seat where you are. You never know what will come your way when you're focused and you're purposeful. Everybody in this room, now I know people, I wish it was me who got the 50%. Yeah, I know. But guess what? Because you have brought yourself all the way here, you have an opportunity to be in this program. You have an opportunity to learn. Many people have heard, but many people didn't make the choice to be here. And so for you, the opportunity is to start, and we'll tell you more about it even as we go forward. But I'm so happy because in the next 1 minute or so, I'm going to invite somebody who has experienced the class to tell you what they've learned, how their lives have changed. I'm going to ask Gloria Adeti if you can come up and share your experiences from the Centonomy 101 program. Guys, I assure you coming up here is not easy. Give Gloria a hand. Encourage her. Imagine she's coming to share a story, and we're glad to hear it even as we go. Welcome. Thank you so much.
Good morning. Good morning. How are we today? My name is Gloria Adeti Ogutu. In social circles, I'm called Mrs. Gakuo Waidhaka. So my husband is your namesake. You not only share a name, you not only share a tribe and a country, but you share a passion to help businesses and people make better financial decisions. Hopefully one day you'll meet. Yes, members, I joined Centonomy because in 2024, it was a very shitty year for me. Nothing was moving. Everything was stagnant. You push this, nothing is moving. So 2024 ended and I couldn't account for anything, any investment, any business, just nothing. And when 2025 started, I told myself, no, I can't continue like this. I need to make changes. I need to be more proactive than reactive. Reactive is where you wait for things to happen and then you act. But proactive, you go for it, you chase things. So I told myself, 2025, I'm going to be in every growth space. Every growth space you will see Gloria Adeti, just know it's a growth space. So I attended the open day that Centonomy had, and the founder, Washeke Ndwati, said, you need to leave the bus stop You need to leave the bus stop. Don't wait to see the destination. Move away from the bus. Get into the bus. Start moving. Things will fall into place. I'm an event planner. I'm a planner to the core. I'm those people who I want to see before I start moving. It works well for projects that I do, weddings that I do, because I know the end goal. But in life, it's not the same. Life is not a straight line. Sometimes you don't see the end. You just have to move in faith and know that things will work out. So those are some of the things that were holding me back, because I was waiting to be sure, I have to know everything before I move, before I make this decision, before I start this business, before I do this. And it was holding me back. That procrastination was holding me back so much. So when she mentioned that, I was like, I have to start. And I joined the class. The class was very vibrant in the WhatsApp group, in the class. The chat box was always full. These people are so active. And even after the class, we would go to the WhatsApp group and say, I didn't understand this. I remember, I think it was treasury bonds, shares, bills, who were like, this math was not mathy. And I think it's Julie and Eric. You're there, you know yourself. They really helped us. They are lawyers, they are bankers, so they understood those things better, and they would help us to go through them again. And the Centonomy support team was very good. They would give us the links so that you go through the session again slowly. You take your time and understand those things you might have missed. So it really helped us to learn from each other. I want to congratulate my teammates. We are champions, we are trendsetters. We are the first cohort for Uganda, Centonomy Uganda. We have done it. Please stand up. I will not take this moment alone. Please stand up. Yes, we have done it. And Mr. Waithaka, we have been blamed for empowering women only and leaving men behind. But in this class, we had men. I don't know where they are, but maybe they're online. But we had men. And this is a class I would encourage every man to be part of. Because you're the heads of the family, you're the heads in the relationship. You earn more money than us. How are you making your financial decisions? How are you making your money? Are you making investments, or you're drinking away your money? Are you leaving an inheritance for your children? How are you leading the family? This is, in Kenya, wanasema kuuliza si ujinga. To ask is not stupidity. Don't feel like, I can't show that I don't know this. I can't go to the class and be like, I don't know these things. It's actually bravery. It's good because you learn and you do better and you make better informed decisions. So I hope to see more men joining this program and just leading their families and their marriages better with those better financial decisions. I'm intentional about growth spaces because you learn new things every time. Every time we're in class, we're learning something new. You might think you know, but you don't know everything. Someone will always add something new to what you already know. What stood out for me in this class, of course, personal money management. Mr. Waithaka made us break down daily what we are spending on. And some of us who are mothers, we are guilty of buying snacks. You're going home, you buy snacks for the kids, you're just buying things. But when you sit down and calculate, I blew out a whole 20K every day. When you add up that in a week, in a month, a lot of money. So it really opened our eyes to know that some things can wait. It's okay to say no. And it's better to help you just budget and be very intentional about your money. Also turning our gifts and skills to give us money, to put money in our pockets. Some of us have skills in bakery, tailoring. Personally, I have digital skills, social media. I'm very good with social media. And when they told us to turn those skills into things that would give us money, I started with that, and I made my first small deal. And it worked out. And it's something I intend on really pursuing. I was managing a fundraising project group for sanitary pads for girls in Ruchiga district, and they're paying me 1.5. Yes. It has been going on for 3 months. We are launching the project on 13th June. Yes. So you might have skills that you're good at, maybe you don't even know. Because I used to do it just, people would tell me, you're so good with social media, you're so good at pushing things. Why don't you do something about it? So those are some of the things that we can turn into things that bring in money. I also enjoyed time value of money because we were encouraged to really break down what we want. It's not enough to have wishful thinking. I think that's what I was doing in 2024. I wish I had this. I want this. You just wish. But Mr. Idaka would tell us, okay, you want a house where? In Kololo, in Gayaza, where, which location? How big is the land? Huh? Which kind of house? A bungalow, a Kalina, which one? How many rooms? I even remember you asked us, how many rooms? Like, be very exact about your goal. And then you will break it down. You get to know the figure and come back working backwards to how much should I save monthly, weekly, even daily. And for us who have children, he did a very good example of the university. Which university do you want your child to go to? Then you start working backwards. Then you realize, what? I don't have time. If I want my child to go to this university, I better start saving today. Because by that time, things will be double, triple the fees we are seeing today. Not so. So you need to prepare earlier. So it just made goal setting very real, very action-oriented, apart from the wishful thinking we always do. The other one that stood out for me was estate planning. This is something I faced in my upbringing because I lost both my parents and they had no will, and we really struggled to get a financial standing. So I remember I even got emotional in the session. I didn't want, but I knew I had to listen to this. I had to know the facts and do better for myself or for my children. So it's for us out there who have families, think of the next generation. What are you leaving for them? Where are they going to start from? Create transgenerational businesses. Teach your children these things. Then the last one I'll talk about was the abundant living. I call her Whoopi Goldberg. Sheila. She looks so much like Whoopi Goldberg. So I told her, you remind me of Whoopi Goldberg. She challenged us. She told us, this thing that you're fearing to do, she told us, write down what you want to do that you've been procrastinating, or that you've been putting aside. I'll do later, I'll do next year, I'll do. Write it down. Then write for yourself. Don't even tell us. Write for yourself in 6 months. If I don't do this thing, how will I feel? In 6 months, 1 year, 5 years. Break it down. Of course, 6 months, you still have the excuses. I don't have money. I don't have this. I don't have. 1 year, you're blaming the government, blaming everything. But 5 years, I looked at myself and I was like, really, I would blame myself. I would have no one else to blame but me. Because after 5 years, if I have not done this thing that I really want to do, it is on me. It is not on anyone else. Probably even the opportunities will have bypassed me. Maybe I will not have the same zeal and the same energy, and like things will be so different that you will have nobody else to blame but yourself. Then when we were doing financial planning with Flavia, she told us, think of a tourist destination you want to go to. Mention the tour destinations you want to go to and put in the chat section. Then she said, don't mention Dubai. And I looked at my visual board and said, my visual board had Dubai. I was like, sorry, Bambi, we are not mentioning you today. So I took a back seat. I started observing in the chat, people are putting countries I'd never even heard of. There's a whole country which is an island somewhere. So your mind just, like, you get to think so big beyond what you've been thinking by yourself. But I'll still go to Dubai. I still have the best fireworks for New Year's. But the classes would push you to think so big, to think beyond what you are thinking are goals. They would make you think so far and then come back and plan for how to achieve this abundant life that you want. I want to end by an animal that I've found a new respect for. I observe animal traits. I've been looking, all of us know the lion, the king of the jungle, his confidence, his strength, and all that. I have a new respect for the eagle. He's the king of the air. The lion is the king of the land, the animals, but the eagle is the king of the air. So I'll just share 6 things about the eagle. The eagle flies high above the altitude where jets fly, not even aeroplanes, jets. He flies that high, and he doesn't fly in a pack. He flies by himself, and when he meets another bird, it is an eagle. It is not any other type of bird, it's an eagle. So who are in your circles? Do you have eagles in your circles that are flying at your altitude? The eagle has strong vision. It's up there, but when it locates its prey, which is what Mr. Waithaka was telling us, define that goal. It's okay to look broadly, but break it down into even the amount that house will cost, and then now come for that goal on how you'll achieve that goal. That is what the eagle does. Once it has located its prey, it will come from up there, and you will not even notice. It will snatch the prey so fast you will not even notice it. That is targeted. The other thing I like about it, doesn't eat dead stuff. It doesn't eat carcasses. Let's not get comfortable with the norm, what everyone is doing. This is what happens. No. Create your own path. You're unique in your own way. Your gift was given to you, only you. And only you can bring it out in your own way. I can't be Daisy Sunshine. I can't be Mr. Waithaka. They are all different and special in their own. Even you. People would share business ideas in their group sessions, and you're like, wow, I had not thought about this. Wow, this is unique. So you have different abilities, gifts that God has given you. Don't sit on them. We all know the parable of the talents. You know what happens when you sit on the gift that God has given you. Let us use those gifts. Let's multiply them and use it to benefit other people. The eagle, in a storm, the eagle flies above the storm. It uses the wind in the storm. It doesn't fear the storm. When the storm is falling, it uses the wind to rise above the storm. That shows that we shall have challenges in life. 2024 might have been my year of challenges, but if I'd stayed down there, it wouldn't benefit me. You have to go through the storms and rise up. Find your way back up. And in every challenge you face, any problem you face, anything that might be happening to you, look for the opportunity in it. Don't focus so much on the negative side. Look for the positive in it. COVID happened. It was one of the worst things. But there are people who found opportunities in it. There are people who made the most money in COVID when all of us were locked up in our houses. The people who are doing deliveries, hello. The people who are making masks, they turned from tailoring clothes to masks. They made a lot of money. So always look for the opportunity in every storm. Acknowledge it's a storm, pass through it, don't dodge it, but look for the opportunity that lies in it. Also, the mother eagle, when it has had its kids, it throws them in the air. It throws them in the air and lets them, that's how it teaches them to fly. It just goes up and throws them. You can imagine. That's some tough love. But that's how they learn to fly. So let us use the information we've gotten to also benefit others, especially our children, the young generation. This class should even be taught to people who are leaving campus, some are high school. Yes, because by the time they start working, they will know how to make the best financial decisions with their monies, the best investment decisions with their monies. And lastly, the ego rejuvenates. The ego, when it has gotten old, it goes alone. It finds somewhere alone, sheds off all the wings, bits off the beak, falls off, and it grows afresh, and it can live for 40 more years. That shows us that you can be down, but don't stay down. You can always rise up and be better. Congratulations once again to my fellow participants. Thank you so much, Mr. Waithaka and your team, for taking us through this course. Thank you.
Stay right there. Come on, give her a hand. Some of you have a question about the program. I want to give you a chance. If you have a question that you'd like to ask, I'll give you a chance right now. And if you don't, that's okay. Yes, here we go.
When does the program start? Are they physical?
Before you leave, you will know.
I had the same question because the website is not updated.
Listen, you can immediately register. Don't worry, we're giving you the details right now. Any other questions before we move on? All right, please give. Oh, wait, I didn't see the hand. Great, good.
Hi everyone. There's so many programs that we actually join. There's so many programs that we put our time and money, our efforts in, and you attend a program for months and you come out and you're not actually effective in that program. What did you and your participants do in that time to really get the most from it and actually come out and have set out goals, plans to execute and change? There's so much that we come to listen to, but the action beat, what did you guys do and how can we pick up on that?
So Gloria, other than making 1.5 million in that project, what else have you done?
I would say my goals are clearer now. I know exactly where to put my money. I was those people who save, it's almost hoarding.
Yeah.
You hold on to money. I feared losing money. But through this class, I learned different investment options that can help your money to grow. It's actually not wise to keep money in the bank just seated. So I learned different ways to help my money to grow and to make faucets. Faucets, yes. The founder taught us about faucets. Every asset should give you money. So I think it depends on your goals. If it's financial, Centonomy is here. If it's lifestyle, there are groups for that. Just move with what you want to achieve. Thank you. I think the unit trust. I moved all the money from the bank account to the unit trust, and they send you reports daily, monthly, daily, of how the money is growing on a daily. So that is a very good thing for me. And also, I'm turning my assets. I have an event planning garden. So that is also bringing now money, plus the digital skills I talked about.
Wonderful. Can we give her a hand again? Thank you so much. And to the rest of the class, thank you so much also for the example that you have given us as we go. Now you're going to hear from one of our trainers. She came and she was a student, and then she said, you know what, I have something to offer. And so she said, I can teach on certain areas on finance. Can I be part of it? And we said, yes, come. And she's now earning as one of our trainers. So remember we talked at the beginning and we're looking for opportunities. How can you increase your income? Because it's not just about saving what you're earning today. What are you going to do now to earn more? And so this is one of the areas in which she has grown her income. She's one of the Centonomy trainers as well. Can we put our hands together for Hauda? Hauda, come as you share your story about what you've learned and also how you're training. Guys, that's not a big enough hand for somebody. Thank you. There we go.
All right, thank you so much. Hi, everybody. Hi. So I'm very happy to see all of you here. I'm very excited. I hope we're all super pumped the way that I am. I had prepared some slides that I'm going to wait for. So my name is Hauda Tusuvira Ngorok, Mrs. Ngorok. My husband is here with me today. Hi. And the K is silent because that's my father's name, which I think I'm going to drop because you know the issue with our registrations for names. Anyway, so I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a public speaker, I'm the founder of Moneyset Consulting. I'm a financial coach and a tax educator, and I trained the taxation class with Centonomy Uganda. So, actually, while I was coming on stage, someone just gave me my flowers. Thank you very much that she enjoyed that class. Thank God. Because after the class, I was wondering, did it have impact? Did people love that class? Was it practical enough? Because I know tax can be super complicated. I am an officer. I showed up to work, and it was hard to understand. So when I say that, yes, I do work at Uganda Revenue Authority, and I'm very happy to be here. So also, I'm a mother of 2 amazing children, and yeah, I'm a Christian woman. I believe I'm called, and I know that I am called in the field of finance and tax from the very many conversations I've had with the Lord. So I'm very happy to be here. We're going to get right into it. So while I was preparing this, I thought, the man in the mirror. But that felt, it's not true, because when I attended the classes with Centonomy, there were women in there. So it doesn't relate. So I thought of the girl in the mirror, but I knew there were men in my class, and they were all starting their lives, right? So I thought, what better way to talk about reflection than the mirror on the wall? First things first, is milk and bread the true sign of wealth? As a child, my father, you people, when there was money at home, you would know. You know when people talk about there will be signs, the signs were there. You know that spirit of money, if I catch you, I knew when my dad caught the money, because there'll be milk and there'll be bread. It was such a significant thing in our household. One of my sisters said when she grows up, she's going to work in a bread factory and eat all the bread, because she knew when there was bread, there is money. And for me, that shaped a lot for me, because at a certain point, there was a season when my parents had nothing. As I'm a mother, I work so hard for my children not to know when my purse is empty. But it was so bad to the point that my dad obviously had no money. It's a big deal for a child to know there is no money in the house, and the child to start to worry about money in that season. Because this was a guy, when there was money, you'd be out. My dad would spend on us, which I love. Even at this age, he will say, money is just paper. And then he'll give you money at this big age as someone's wife, you know. But I declare, you guys, I declare. So, at the end of the day, the most important thing that shaped my thought process was that moment when my parents lost money. I became so scared to be broke. You know that fear that Daisy was talking about, the fear of poverty? I experienced it at such an early age that even when they got back their money, the fear remained consistent at the back of my mind. So as I started to move as an adult, keyword, that was the situation at home. And in schools, we all know, for crying out loud, I know what the chalaza is. Who remembers? No one remembers what the chalaza is. You do? Where is it? It's in the egg. The epidermis, the dermis, part of the skin, all these things I remember. I remember the tail of a cow. It is the switch. Apparently, if you write tail, you're wrong. But no one prepared me for my first paycheck. I don't know, maybe people went to planned schools, but me, my planned education in a traditional school, a very good school, even in high school, even at the university. You know how you're at uni, you can't wait to leave that class, to go out and make that money. And then reality hits your home for a year. So when you get that job, you have a point to prove. You want to let them know, Nange nkola. When you look at the first slide, I have a lot of experience. But I'll tell you something. With all that experience, I never had anything to show for it. For all, we're talking over a decade's worth of work experience. I've been working even before I finished university. There was no money in my bank account. So I started, you have to get to a certain level of discomfort, yeah? There's always, before your life changes, there's a bit of discomfort. Daisy, Prim, I'm sure before you guys started content creation, was there a level of discomfort that you experienced? Before your life changes, there's that discomfort. Suddenly, it's not enough. Suddenly, nothing makes sense. So the first meaningful question you're going to ask yourself, and I'd love all of us to write it down. You don't have to show your neighbor unless, you want to. Or if it's your husband, or boyfriend, or partner, or friend. The first question is, where will I be 5 years from now? All factors kept constant. The way you showed up today with the money in your bag, the way you live your life, the way you have been moving every single day of your life. Where will I be? You know how they always ask, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Do you notice that your mind goes straight to unrealistic things? In 5 years from now, I'm telling you, I might have retired in my head. Yeah? Every time I go and leave and I'm home, I'm thinking, I should be a housewife. Not that they don't do anything at home, but I'm like, but then I realized, no, I don't want to be a housewife. I want to be a planned wife staying at home. Yeah? Because it's just not enough. I want those things. But then reality hits. So, if you do not change anything right now, same routine every day, same job, don't even think of that promotion. Don't apply for it. The way you are right now, what does your life look like 5 years from now? Simple. Something for you to think about. This question does not end today. Ask yourself that every month, every moment you want to reflect and look at yourself. Not in the mirror, but you have to reflect. Yeah? You have to reflect upon what is happening for you. What is working for you? What is working against you? Once you answer that question, do you like that place where you have seen yourself 5 years from now with the same routine? Do you? I don't know. You will find out. So the honest answer that I found when I asked myself this question was, your money does not happen to you, Howda. You are happening to it. I was working. Let me tell you something. When I left the company I was working for the one I work at Uganda Revenue Authority. My previous boss, a Ghanaian, and if you know personality types, he's red. This man prepared a whole slide. For me, that was effort, talking about me. And everyone was shocked because many people exited, but he talked about me and my excellence. My excellence did not reflect on my bank account. I was happening to my money every 10 seconds of the day. I am those people. When there is money on my account, okay, back then. That's capping, Vambi, mobile banking. The moment my phone would just deliver that message, I would be like, it's time. As in, where is the money? Where is the party? I literally even stopped going out. And this is the funny thing. As a Christian, I no longer go out. There are things, I do have fun, but not the way that I used to during university. So, what happened was, I realized, even as we pray, like, God, free me from the spirit of poverty. And then when you get to that point where you're listening to God and he says, hold on, I have been giving you money. What did you do with this money? What did you do with that money? What did you do with this one? And I was like, God has been giving me money. So I pulled out all my bank statements and realized I am the problem. I am the one. I am the spirit that was eating the money. And I had to start on a journey of reflection. So it starts slowly as you go through, right? Your behavior when it comes to money says a lot about you. It says a lot about you. What was I doing? How was I happening to my money? I was collecting things to fill a certain void, to not fall back. Because when I got older, my parents got back the money, but I never forgot. Because it happened to them at an impressionable age. I never forgot what happened to them. So in my mind, thinking I was living an abundant life, I have a big sister. We had this mantra. Eat once, starve once. Yeah, let me tell you, we ate. But what I didn't understand was me. I was spending faster than I was earning. This madam is a business owner. I don't, thank God she's not here because I don't know how she was doing it, but I also understood that fact. She was earning on a daily. Yeah? And she had very good, nice things. She sells Islamic wear, and it was such a rare thing at that time. But me, we're not on the same wavelength. So you see how I was looking at someone else's life and placing myself in their shoes, thinking we are on the same boat. We were not the same person. So that first time that I tracked my expenses is when I knew what the problem was. Now, what led me to track my expenses? I joined Centonomy. How did I join Centonomy? Remember, I've told you, I was broke. I could not even afford it. And how did I know about Centonomy? I was on YouTube Shorts. It came up. I saw Evelyn Motoko. Did I say that right? Caroline, sorry, I'm so sorry. Caroline Motoko, yes. So I saw her YouTube channel, and she talked about, I feel like so many people have seen the thing where she talks about buy things of value. Don't buy so many things that mean nothing. Buy the things that are of value, because it's an investment. You know, you see, she's nodding her head. Yes. So I realized, I looked at all my shoes from a certain country that we buy there, downtown. I said, if I sell these things, how much can I get from them? I was broke. And then I went down the rabbit hole that is Centonomy. So I binge-watched so much, and this is another thing for you to understand. When you want to thrive in a certain area, gather all that information. Whether it's a business, whether it's health, whether you want to eat better, gather the information, the relevant information, not just any information, the right information. So you see, by the time I was going through all this, I was looking for information that I could relate to. And then I found Centonomy. And then, you know that I had become a stalker. I was on that page every single day, eating everything, looking for the Making Sense podcast. And then they advertised, I think, they started putting out the scholarships, they started putting out the discounts. So I applied for the scholarship. I did not know that there were plans to move to Uganda, and that's how I got in. And ironically, in that season, God was talking to me about being a financial coach. I would go to bed and have these vivid dreams, and I'm speaking, and I'm saying, I'm a financial coach. I am Haudatu Surya, and I'm a financial coach. And I didn't understand. I was like, God, what am I going to tell these people? As in, I am a fraud. Like, what am I going to tell these people? God, you know that bargaining thing you do with God, like, pick someone else. I think I'd become Jonah. Thank God there's no well in this season. So, at that time, what are the odds that you're called to do something and then you get a scholarship in that very same thing? By then, I had been tracking expenses, but failing. So I had been doing a budget. I made my budget, but it was not effective. Have you ever made a budget and you're not even sticking to it? The problem is, yes. Okay, so that's when I understood that I was one bad financial decision away from financial ruin. This is how tomatoes almost killed my financial future. I had been to the market 4 times in a week. 4 times to buy tomatoes. But how do you spend 50,000, 100K on tomatoes? Is it possible? No. What was I doing in the market? I went for tomatoes, I came back with other things. Me, I love snacks. My kids love snacks. The mother and the children, same WhatsApp group. So we'd eat together, yeah? And then I understood, I went through a self-discovery and a 360-degree view on all things finance because I got to understand my personality type when it came to money. I was not living an abundant life by collecting things around myself. It was scarcity. I had to see the value of my money. I would collect things. In fact, when I was running broke, I would buy more things. When I was running broke, so that I would feel like, you know what? I am doing something meaningful. And that was a mistake. So I learned this from the abundance class by Sheila Waitaka, and it really changed my life. So for me, Centonomy did not just teach me how to stand as a financial coach, but from that very same class, I'm standing before you. She talked about it. She said, when Sheila said, what is that one thing you're afraid of? And God had spoken to me, so I wrote that thing. I'm afraid of speaking. I am afraid of being a financial coach. It was so burdensome. In the chat I wrote, I now feel like I can finally breathe. I could breathe. There was this huge weight that was lifted. I could breathe. And that's what I got from it. I mean, would I be here? I made some bold moves and approached, and yeah, this is where we are now. So failure is always the first key experience to learning as you're growing. Right after Centonomy, do you know what I did? I received a lump sum payment. I spent all of it. I became overly confident. If there is someone in this room who feels like, I know everything. Meanwhile, when I approached that class, I was like, I've been watching other popular guys. What is this class going to do? 360 degrees view of money. That's what it did for me. So I failed. And then I started to reflect. And I realized reflection means nothing without implementation. Pastor T.D. Jakes, Bishop, he says, potential without preparation leads to frustration. I had the potential to make the money. I knew what I wanted. I had set the goals. This class, what the question she asked, they have action, like there's always a call to action at the end of the class. But I wasn't implementing. Then I realized I am my own personal problem. Like sometimes you're the problem. You need to understand you're self-sabotaging. So when I got that, I started to move forward. And the analogy, breathing underwater, that was me from the start. I was breathing in discomfort, but at least I was breathing. I started to put the money aside. I attended money in relationships with my husband, by then boyfriend, and we talked about money. We talked about how we're going to treat money. This is someone who's very good with his finances. Literally at 10, they were getting allowances and writing them down and telling their parents what they spent their money on so that their parents could give them more money. Amazing. Me, I came. So it was such an amazing thing to have these conversations with this man. And it has really changed. Like, I told him the other day, I feel so good. I'm in such a good space with money. There's money in my bag. That was a miracle. At the end of the month, there's money in my bag. There's money on the unit trust. There's money in the circle. I actually wondered, where was this money coming from? And Centonomy also brought another aha moment into my head. What happens when you lose your job? What are you going to leverage? Or what are you doing right now? We know these jobs. I work for the government. It could change any time. And that, as an overplanner, that scared me. My children have passports. Because I'm always thinking of flight or fight. Fight or flight. It's me. Before my wedding, he said I'm a flight risk. So I had to sleep at the venue. This is how serious things are. Like, I'm always planning ahead, yeah, due to different traumas. So that's what I got to understand. Sometimes you're going to do it up from a place of discomfort, but do it anyway. And it gets easier as you go along. So when it comes to tax literacy, an average Ugandan in formal employment could pay 20 to 30% of their lifetime earnings in taxes, mostly invisibly through consumption. Every time you swipe your card, there's an excise duty going off that charge. You're thinking VAT at the supermarket, there is more. When you buy fuel at the fuel pump, tax. This is actually, what people don't understand is tax is the biggest expense you'll ever have, your whole entire life. That sweet you buy for your children, tax. As long as it's, like everything, yeah? So the system has been set to support us, the government of Uganda, to collect. And so that we can have a few, good amenities. I'm saying a few because I'm reading the room. It's not something people love to talk about. People don't like tax. But honestly, it's inevitable. And that's the thing we're going to understand. But what do you do? The most important thing is learning how the tax system works isn't just for accountants. It's for everyone who wants to keep more of what they earn. The Bible says, it's a principle. My people perish because they lack knowledge. What you do not know will actually cost you. You are one step away from an assessment, just according to the way you registered your TIN. You're an employee, that's all you do, but your TIN is registered under rental business, under business income. Have you actually looked into your URA portal and looked at your registration details? Are they up to date? I have a friend, very close friend, very personal friend. Her taxes were bad. She had assessments and she didn't know about them until she was ready to align her taxes. Thank God, with a bit of advice, everything got better. But not everyone has someone on the inside. So you're going to need a tax agent. You're going to need to soak up that information. It's not enough to have someone else do your books. Know what's going on. Knowledge is power. Why tax? Tax is law. It's actually in the Constitution of Uganda, and it's set by the parliament. So vote wisely, ladies and gentlemen, vote wisely. Because the MP you put into parliament is the one that's about to pass a bill for you or against you. So listen to their speeches when they're giving them. The concept, tax cannot be avoided, but managed really well. Non-compliance is more expensive than compliance. What do I mean? You're afraid if I file, I'm afraid of giving a certain amount to the government. Did you know that you can also file a nil return? And if you're an employee, you don't have to file. You're not mandated anywhere to file. Did you know that when you exit the country and pay withholding tax, actually, even when you import, I have a friend who imports her cars, she always gets back her withholding tax. Always. She did not know that outside of URA or outside of the friends at URA. But when she got into that information, she got to learn it. And that's the most important thing. Knowledge is power. That's why below I said, in all you're getting, get understanding. That's the most important thing. The only way to know your tax implication is by knowing more about it. And Centonomy does provide that. Honestly, I was shocked. They talk about taxes for individuals? And I was an officer at that time. I was like, okay. That's when I knew this is actually holistic. They talk about the estates, all the planning. We're planning investments together. And that's interesting. I know some people are like, hey, you wear the uniform. It's okay. Also assess the character of the person you're getting married to. And talk about their character when it comes to money. Some men actually want to provide from 0 to 100. Do not tell him anything that you're bringing as shilling. Some people want to share. I got married to someone who's liberal. The man lived in Canada, so you know how that goes. We actually plan our finances together. And it's been great. It's amazing. But we had a plan on the onset before we even got into what we are in right now. So remember that money is a tool. It's not a means to an end. Money used to affect my mood. I would fall sick. Sickness, at the thought of being broke, I would call my husband, by then we're dating, and I would tell him I'm feeling sick. I can't breathe. I feel like I'm so stressed. And he's like, are you broke? And I say, yeah. I have no money. And he was, because he was so good at it, he used to make my budget for me. He knew how much I was earning. A significant amount. He knew. He would even plan how much I'm going to put in my unit trust. Was there anything? 0. And I would go and tell him, I'm feeling so sick, Wanange. I feel like this job is stressing me. He's like, I think you're broke. And then after the third time, he said, you know, every time you're broke, you feel sick. So I don't want to go back to that place. I hate sickness. Yeah, so wealth is not built in a day, but over time with small daily steps. As I said, you're one bad financial decision away from financial ruin. So be mindful as you make those decisions, as you answer that first question about the 5 years, plan ahead. So the right time to start is actually now. Thank you very much for your time.
Stay right there. Okay. You have a question about tax. Ask it now. Or about anything else. How they spoke about. I can see. Just review. Great. I'm coming up that side. If you do have one, please let us know quickly.
Hello everyone, thank you very much, Howder, for the presentation.
Thank you.
I'm Darin Mwebaze. So
Hi, Darin.
each one of you has talked about unit trust, and I would love that you share how do we get to know about it, how do we begin? Yeah, I would appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay.
Anyone else? Okay, how did you want to answer that, or will I help you with it?
I think you should answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Guys, can we give Howder a hand? Thank you for sharing. Thank you. A better hand than that, please, as she comes. We've been sitting for a while. It's not useful for us to sit for so long. Please stand to your feet. I want you to find somebody else you didn't speak to beforehand, and I want you to share your biggest financial mistake. Now, before you share, let me explain how I lost nearly $10,000 within 3 months. $10,000 in 3 months. I spent it on things that my business did not need, and the business did not earn anything from it. So I have lost $10,000 in 3 months. Anyone can beat that? So Feel free to share your biggest financial mistake. Somebody you didn't meet before. Meet someone and tell them your biggest financial mistake, please. Please. What did you do? Who stole your money? Who did you give? And if you can't find someone, just join their team. You can be 3 in that team. For those who are online, please type in the chat box. What was your biggest financial mistake? What did you do? Which investment did you make that you didn't plan for, like me? What did you discover? What? Okay, have a seat, have a seat. Are you very happy to know that you're not the only one who makes mistakes? Any of you feeling better that you didn't do as badly as that person that was sitting next to you? Okay. Why do we spend time at Centonomy talking about your mindset and not so much about the money? Because the money is easy. All of us in this room can do the calculations for addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. There's nothing hard. And if you can't do them, you have a calculator that will do it for you. But here's the calculation that is not easy to do. Right now, I have seen on my WhatsApp, just now, as I was seated here preparing, another group fundraising. And no, seriously. And in my mind, I only had to say this: no. Now, it's a very simple word, no. But I know what that no means when I arrive for that family meeting. Do you see what's happening there? That we have multiple things to deal with. So I want to give you 3 tips. In every session that you come for Centonomy, you must leave with some knowledge that you can apply to your finances today. In a few weeks, we're going to have a free trial class that you're all welcome to come and join in so that you can experience what the learning experience is via Zoom, especially for those who are in the room. But for today, I want you to leave with 3 things that you're going to go and apply to your lifestyle immediately. Many of them you've already heard, but I want to explain them to you very quickly. Okay. On average, you said that Ugandans are paying about 30 to 40% of their income in tax. Okay. I want to illustrate that to you. Imagine each one of those months is 10% of your income. So there are 12 months in a year. I've even given you a 20% raise so that we see where our money goes. So watch this. If each month is 10%, then watch this. 10, 20, 30% of your income goes to the government before you even see it. What does that mean? You work from January to which month? To March. For who? Good. I'm looking for your money. So after you've paid the government, where does your money go next? Where do you send your money? Rent, household, on average 20% goes to your landlord or to the mortgage, or to maintaining your own home. After that, where does your money go? You tell me. So black tax, relatives, on average, so I don't like black tax. It is called family support. Let me tell you why I always say that. Because one of our strengths as Africans is that we stand together. Now, in Centonomy, we are never going to break our African culture. We must stand together, but stand together with a plan. The issue is we don't have a plan. So if you are not in my plan, I'm standing with you when I have the money. Are we together? Good. So family support, yeah? Good. After we've supported our family, where next does our money go? You tell me. Shopping, very good. On average in this, okay, now this one. If you're single, I know how you can survive on 5%. But those of us who have children like me, you know what it's like, isn't it? Shopping is serious. Up to 30% of your income. So, can we find a middle ground? Can we say 20? Shopping for everything. 20. Good. Where next? Medical bills, 10%. Where next? Where next? Utilities. Thank you. Electricity, water, garbage, security, the house help, gas, phone expenses, Fuel is coming on transport. Just hang on a second. We're talking utilities. 10%, good. Now, fuel, transport. So if you have a car, is it just fuel that you pay? What else do you pay? Service, insurance, parking. What else? Repairs. What else? Car wash. Do you know how much you spend in a year on car wash? And watch this. This is now your car. We have finished your money. That's 100%. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100%. But we haven't done everything. What else have we not done? We have not tithed. Where were all the Christians a few minutes ago? Where were they? We've said it from here in the front, and even if you're not a Christian, whatever religion you are, we tend to give towards our religion, isn't it? And even if you're not religious, don't you give charitably? Now, there's a difference between charitable giving and family support. You see, when my mother calls me for money, I send her differently than when there's a fundraiser in the office. You see, those are not the same thing. So we give charitably. So now we have given to the church, but we had to borrow to give that money. So if we borrowed, what must we do? Repay with interest. And at this point, you have not bought clothes. You have not gone on holiday. You have not done your hair. What else have you not done? You have not saved. Neither have you invested. So I know you need to save and invest, but where is the problem? Here, in the practical side. So write it down. Pay yourself first. How do you pay yourself first? When money comes in, the first action is to save. The second action is to invest, and then you pay your landlord. Before you pay your landlord, before you pay your relatives, before you pay school fees, pay who? Because all those things, you're paying somebody else. So now, this is the realistic side of it. If you do that, and then you look at your bank account and there's not enough money to pay your rent, what does that mean? You are paying too much rent. And that's a hard reality. And so many of us are living beyond our means, but we've never seen it because we've never been challenged that we're not paying ourselves. Now listen to me. If you don't pay yourself, you will be the one calling for the next WhatsApp group for fundraiser. And I don't know about you, how many of those relatives that you keep sending money, if you are the one in trouble, would send you? Hey, things are too heavy. Too heavy. Number 2, track your spending. If you don't know where your money is going, you cannot make choices. So in the Centonomy class, we'll give you an expense tracker. We'll give you some planning tools that will help you around this. But you can do this for yourself. Here is your assignment. You don't have to do it all your life. I'm not that person. But the tool that has helped me is to do it at least for 1 month every year. Because that 1 month will give me direction as to where my money is kind of going. And I can make decisions from that perspective. So your assignment is for 1 month every year, track your spending. And write down everything. Don't judge yourself. Don't judge. Just write. That's how I discovered, you heard Hauda saying, when we did it for the first time, that we were spending more on takeout food than our rent. But we couldn't see it because it was 5,000 shillings here, it was 20,000 shillings here, then it was 8,000 shillings for a cup of coffee, and then it was this. You add. At the end of the month, it was more than our rent. So when we discovered that is when we decided, let's hire a chef. That chef was cheaper than eating out. Now, you look at me and say that's extravagant. Until you look at my budget. And from my budget, we realized we were saving money by having a chef cook for us than eating at CJ's every week. Do you get what I'm saying? We still are going to CJ's, okay? But not doing it just every day whenever you feel like. There was control. And what this does, it gives you control. One of the issues with our finances is we often feel out of control. It's the government, it's my relatives, it's the bank. Now you're the one taking control. So that's tip number 2. Tip number 3 is the one that I want you to focus on. Here's a real principle, and this is the one that we make a mistake about. Remember I said that I'm in this room after 10 years of work at Centonomy. And this is an answered prayer, but that prayer took 10 years to be in Uganda, in a room like this, and watching. How many people do we have online at the moment? We are at how many? Sorry, it's how many? 600. Over 500 people are watching this online, and we are over 300 people in this room. Is that not an answered prayer? But it didn't just happen, ladies and gentlemen. It didn't. This is a 10-year journey. For my boss, the founder, Washeke, it's a 16-year journey. So don't expect things to happen like this. Watch this. In 10 years, if you simply took the price of that cup of coffee that you paid and you put it into an investment, earning you 10% over 10 years, that's close to 46 million shillings. The price of a cup of coffee every day. But we just drink that cup of coffee like this. And every time now I go and I buy a cup of coffee, I am telling myself I'm a millionaire. Do you get the idea? But you have to do it for 10 years to achieve that. But I know some people are saying 10 years is too long. That price of a cup of coffee is nearly 3 million Ugandan shillings a year. That is the vacation that you have been looking for. But we cannot make that choice until we see it in our lives. So small amounts matter over time. And it is when we have control that we achieve our goals. I want you to remember there's a difference between an asset and a faucet. An asset puts money in your pocket. A faucet, let me give you the technical term. The technical term is a consumption asset. Its primary function is in its use. So, if I bought this house, it looks like it's worth how much? In Uganda shillings, it's like a half acre. In a nice neighborhood, it's how much? How much? 700 million? Good. If I bought this house for 700 million in a nice neighborhood and I live in it, what does it do for me financially? It saves me rent, which is let me tell you, to live without a landlord is a good thing. And I pray for you the same thing. So I don't pay rent. What else does it do for me? It appreciates in value over time, okay? But is it free to live in that house? No, because if anything breaks, who fixes it? If the government is asking for tax on that house, who pays it? Who cuts the grass? Who paints the walls? It's not free to live in your own house. So watch this. If I took that same 700 million and I went down the road and I built 10 apartments, each worth 70 million, how much would I be earning in rent? 700 million? No, an apartment worth 70 million. How much will you make in rent? About how much? In fact, this is good advice. That's why you need to be in the class. You should be able to answer that question a lot. 500,000 per month. But there are 10 of them. How much is that in a month? 500 times 10. 5 million per month. If you bought this with the same money as that house, you can come and live as my neighbor, pay rent, and have change in your pocket. So between the two of us, who is more wealthy? Who is more wealthy? I pray, and that's the aim of the class. We want you to own your own home, but we don't want you to live there and be stressed about money. While you're in that house, we want you to have an asset that will pay you to live there. That is financial freedom. And that's what we want for you. But our goal is to focus on what? Assets. Because assets put money in your pocket. My car, I love it. It makes me feel good. You know, I drive at an angle because it just makes you feel good. But it is losing me money because right now, who's driving my car? Nobody. It's sitting there and I'm paying for it. So make sure that you have an asset that pays you to enjoy your faucets as well. I want to just quickly show you the difference between good debt and bad debt. Good debt goes towards an asset. Bad debt goes towards faucet. Now, did I say that the TV is a bad thing? No. But if I borrowed for that TV, the debt is bad because I'm losing money in that equation. Can I show you practically? This is one of the tools that we use in the class. I want to show you practically. If I bought I can buy a nice car for 50 million, right? Is that enough? A nice car. I didn't say a great car. I said a nice car. 50 million is a good number, yeah? Okay, what kind of car will I get for 50 million? A nice one. See, it's a nice one. All right, good. If I borrowed it at 20% for 5 years, these are the numbers that you have to pay attention to. I will be paying 1.3 million per year for 60 months. 1.3 million for 60 months every month. But here's the number we often don't pay attention to. This is a loan calculator from a bank, so you understand. This number here. This is interest alone. Can you see how much interest I'll pay over 5 years? I'll pay how much? Just under 30 million. So how much did I pay for this car? 50 plus 30 is how much? 80 million. Good. After 5 years now you have paid off your loan. It's your car. Now you want to sell it. How much will you get for that car? 15. Is your car an asset? No. Is it a bad thing? No. I want you to drive a car. But please understand, it is not putting money in your pocket. It is doing what? Taking money out. Now, can I show you something different? I don't want you to borrow 50. I want you to borrow more. Isn't that shocking? Instead of borrowing 50, borrow the actual 80. I've seen them on the road. In fact, they have helped me out. Safe, not border, the taxi one. Safe cab, right? Instead of buying one, buy 3 with 80 million. You can get 3. They are not the one that you wanted, but you can take 1. How many of you have used a safe cab before? Did you arrive? So they work. They work, right? They work. Use that to go from the office to home. In fact, it's easier to park, cheaper to maintain, and then put the other 2 on the road as taxis. The income from those 2 taxis will pay your loan and pay your fuel. Because you started off with an asset and not a faucet. And in a few years, use them to buy the one that you want. Why not? Ladies and gentlemen, at Centonomy, we want you to learn. And that's what you're going to learn shortly. Personal financial planning is about having a vision, which you turn into a goal and you put into action points. Are we together? So we start off with your mindset, then we make it financial and in numbers, and we give you actions to start. So the class begins on the 3rd of June, and it is coming up shortly. So you have some time to prepare and get yourself ready. The registration fee is usually 45,000, but because you have shown up today, because you have given yourself this opportunity, we have cut that registration for today only for all those who are in this room from 45. You can register with only 15,000 Ugandan shillings. So make that registration today. We're trying to give you the impetus to move forward and make that decision. The rest of the fee of 1.45 million, you can pay in installments, 3 installments as we go through the plan. So this is how it works. The class starts, as I said, on the 3rd of June, and you come for 1 class per week for 12 weeks. So you can be able to plan yourself around that class. 1 class, and it's online. So you can take it from wherever you are in the world, especially for those who are online. Wherever you are, you log in. If you're here today in person, and during the 12 weeks, you have to travel somewhere else, don't worry. Just log on through Zoom, and you'll get into the class. And we learn the principles that we've talked about. I've already taken you through all the classes. Each one of them is taught by an industry expert. Before you come into the class, did you see that the loan calculator that I had here on the screen? We send you these tools in advance so that you're able to participate in the class and do your own calculations for yourself. All the tools and the notes are sent to you in advance. So as I said, you can break down the fees in this breakdown. On the first month, you'll pay 510, second month, 510, and the fourth month, you pay 425. So it is practical and affordable even as you go through. As you're going to do this, I'm encouraging you to make the choice to register now. You can do it through MomoPay if you'd like. And the number is here on the screen. You can just quickly write it down so that it's part of your network. It is +256 762 329 170. I'll say it again. +256 762 329 170. And the name that will come up is Malvin Mashara. He's the one who's managing the payment through Momo for Centonomy. So make sure you've got that down, and you can pay it right now, 15,000 shillings. If you come tomorrow, it'll be 45,000 shillings. So we're trying to get you to make a decision quickly. Some of you would like to pay through your bank. So you can take a quick screenshot of this, or you can ask the Centonomy team here to give you the bank details. You can make a bank transfer for that. Those who are online, take a quick screenshot so you can do that. You can also use PesaPal or PayPal. If you'd like to use PayPal, the account is finance@centonomy.com, 15,000 Ugandan shillings. If you use PesaPal, you can use your credit card or debit card to pay. All you need to do is send an email to finance@centonomy.com, and we'll send you the link to pay using your debit card or your credit card. Take advantage of that even as we go forward. It is my immense privilege. Before I forget. We've got an amazing group, a team here from Aristoc who have come. They have a huge number of books that are available, but we have a special book here, and it's on offer here at the desk here by our founder, Washeke Duarte. It's called Making Sense. This is a great place to start your financial journey. All the principles that we've talked about are in this book, and it is available here. Now, unlike when you buy Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, or you buy The Psychology of Money by Housel, or you buy, what is he called? Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. All those are American books talking about American economy. These are by African stories. A lady you can relate to. A young guy at the coast you can relate to. A gentleman who's a consultant that you can relate to. All the stories are here in the book, and it'll be available for how much? Shout at me. How much? 39,900. And you're available here at the desk. Please do come and have a look at the book there as well. And you can be able to get it. As I said, it is my immense privilege to ask our last speaker for today, Prim Nyonyozi, to come up and to share her financial experiences as well. Guys, I don't know if that's the encouragement that she needs as she comes to share right now. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Prim Murungi Nyonyozi, and I'm a content creator, and I'm also a public servant. I work with the Ministry of Internal Affairs, and I used to say that I side hustle with content creation, but it's now a full-time job, just like my other full-time job. You might be wondering why I do all these things, but it's because I feel like we have reached a place in our lives where we sort of can't exist on one source of income. We can no longer survive. Our parents were able to do that, but I don't think we can do that anymore. The speakers that came before me were such excellent speakers. Can we please give them a hand clap? Let's give a clap to Daisy and Hauda. I wasn't sure what I would say after hearing such amazing speakers. But they've said great things, yes, but I would like us to talk about, I want us to start with something that is very, very important. And I wanted to talk about the shame that surrounds money. We cannot talk about money without talking about the shame of being left behind. When I look in my audience, a couple of you might be in your 30s. How many of us here are in our 30s? Let's put our hands up. How many are in our 40s? How many are in our 20s? The majority are in your 20s. Wow. Let's clap for the 20-year-olds. Because the people in our 30s, we didn't have this information when we were in our 20s, not so? So for you to be here, Centonomy, thank you for holding such spaces. For 20-year-olds and the teens, do we have any teens in here? Is there someone who came with their daughter, son? Okay, yeah, but it's very interesting to see that the majority are in their 20s. A lot of the people in their 30s will tell you that one of the things they're very afraid of is feeling left behind. We have to first tackle our own selves, our own emotions. We have to first sit in the shame of accumulating debt. We have to first sit in the silent struggles with debt, sit with the pressure to look like you're winning. And when I was invited here, I was invited to speak as a content creator, and I've had a lot of people commend me on my authenticity. When people say you're authentic, a lot of times they're like, oh, you share your hardships. That's what they mean. You share and tell us your struggles. But I'm always like, that's not a compliment. Your authentic is not a compliment, because as opposed to what? I come here and tell you how rich I am or how well I'm doing financially, yet I'm lying. So that's not a compliment. Your authentic, to me, is not a compliment. It's as opposed to what? So as a content creator, one of the things that people struggle with is to look like you're winning, to post a certain lifestyle, because probably that's what will get you the numbers. That's what will get rooms to talk about you. That's what will get everyone that's what will get you to be the talk of the town. So I know that while it's something that people struggle on public platforms, there are people who struggle with that quietly. Especially Africans, we are very close to our cousins. We are very close as extended families. And you find that a lot of people are jealous because another cousin looks like they are making it. So how many times do we have to fall into debt to look like we are making it? How many times do we have to be in debt to afford to go to a friend's bridal shower? Because once again, you don't want to be toxic. Because once again, you don't want to be the person that doesn't support your friends. I've seen a post around that says, look at your friends who don't support your business, the ones who don't clap for you. But that's a lie. What if your friends cannot afford what you're selling in this season? So I know that we cannot talk about money without talking about the shame that we feel or the shame around money. I want us to talk about, and where does this shame come from, or where do our money habits come from? I once sat in on a class for Audrey Tumwine, and she told us that our money habits are shaped by childhood. And I'll tell you, as a child of a single mom, my mom used to fight money. She used to fight with money. I have a friend who once made an observation and told me that there are so many times you'll not have school fees, but each time I come to your home, you're eating chicken. And as a child, for those who know, I know that right now chicken is something that's not a luxury, it's affordable, but back then it was a status symbol. Being able to eat meat every day, as a man, you're told you need to be able to provide meat every day for your family. So my mom would make sure that when she has money, she will fight it, and she'll only settle when that money is done, used up, empty. And I became that person. When I grew up, I became that person. Like I had to, and it's to uninstall my money, my bank apps, because I fought money. I fought those figures. Seeing what I have 10 million, that's insane. I'll go and scroll, and I know how to shop online. I would purchase things online, and I would tell myself there's a new gift coming. And then I'll be like, what am I looking forward to next Thursday? Oh, there's this coming, there's that coming. And so one day I was praying against my mother. Because I used to feel like, I woke up one and I was like, you know what, I'm like this because it's a generational curses. So as I was breaking the generational curses, I'm the one who was falling. Because, friends, I was the generational curse. I was the one who was spending like crazy. I was the one who was getting back in debt. When I was praying debt, when I would reach debt, I would fall harder. Because, friends, I was the one that was accumulating these debts and not generational curses. So we cannot have conversations about money without growing up, without understanding the money beliefs we inherited. Money doesn't grow on trees, we were told. Don't talk about money in public. I sat with Daisy over there, and we started showing her what creators call rate cards. I'm like, how much are you charging brands for this? How much are you charging brands for that? How much are you charging for businesses? And because I don't come from the school of thought of hide these conversations, hide about money, don't tell anyone what you earn. Most of the time, this is meant to keep you quiet. I don't know if you've seen the reel or the meme where an intern is shocked to discover that people in that firm are paid salary. Yes, while other people are also like, oh, you're getting $200,000? What? I'm only getting $90,000. So the reason that this has been successful, that discrepancies in salaries, the discrepancies in money have been successful, is because you have been told, because they know the culture that they're working with. They're working with a culture that has told you, don't talk about money in public. And survival, when I tell you that my mom used to fight money and I was doing the same, I just used to finish it, and trust me, that's the only time I would be okay. I was very, very okay when I had nothing. Because guess what? You're like, oh, as a Christian, like, the Holy Spirit has got me. Then, then you're like, then you also have cultural and societal expectations. They expect you to give to a certain contributions. I'll give you an example. I'll be getting married this year, and my fiancé and I have decided that we are going to host a wedding we both can afford, okay? So when I told my mom, she's like, oh yeah, Prima, you have to call for meetings. And I told her, no, we are not calling for meetings. We are throwing a wedding we can afford. So what we can afford is relative. That looks like different things to different people. What you can afford could be 300 million wedding, and that's okay. So I told my mom, if what we can afford looks like a balcony, you will be hosted at that balcony. She's like, but you gave a lot of people your money when they were getting married. She's like, I used to see you give contribution to your friends, to what? And friends, yes, I used to give. Like, rarely would I give less than 500,000. But that wasn't even coming from a point of, wow, there's some I gave because, yes, I really like you. But there are also some that I gave out of the trauma of, I want you to see that now I am not the broke chick you used to know. So I told my mom, these people don't owe me. Number one, the people that I give money to are now married with families. They have children. They have expenses. How dare I expect them to be able to come back and give me that 2 million that I once gave them? If they do give, well and good. If they do not give, me and my fiancé have planned for what our pockets can afford. So we need to speak about what is society expecting us to do. And I've had a lot of people say, oh my God, you can't have such a small wedding. You're famous, you have friends. And I'm like, yeah, that's the thing. This is when we are going to realize who is actually very, 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 if it's family, yes. And I've told my mom that I'm not ashamed anymore. I've spoken about this on my stories. I'm not ashamed. I don't have shame anymore. I don't have the shame of I have to do what is expected vis-a-vis we're struggling. But also, let me speak about the partner that I'm marrying when it comes to finances. He's the kind of person who I really love how confident he is in so many things. When I told him that I got a quotation for videography, and he's like, oh, how much is it? I'm like, 8 million. He's like, okay, not everyone is a mnyankore, but he said something like, oineza camera, oinesumu, you have phones and you have videos, you have cameras, you're going to give them to people and they'll record the function. So I told him, oh my God, we have to pay for videography because those are the memories we'll keep. That's what we'll have. And he's like, will you have forgotten me 10 years from now? Will you have forgotten I'm your husband? So when I told him that, we need, the decorator is asking for such and such money, he's like, we can't hire plastic chairs from around here. So, yeah, but anyway, he's really good with finances, and that's when I realized that a lot of the work that had to be done was with me. I, like I said, was the problem. I was the generational curse in that relationship. So many of us did not grow up learning about wealth building. We learned fear and not strategy. Our culture does not encourage honest conversations about failure. We do not talk about failure. That's why I think people are like, bold of you to come here and tell us that you are in failed relationships. Bold of you to come and tell us that you started a business that failed. But if we spoke more and more about our failures, we would be conquering them. There are so many things that I talk about that are not for you. They are not for my audience as a creator. It's me to overcome that fear, because guess what? Now you will never use that against me. So this is what silence and shame cost us. They are expensive. I know we think that cars are expensive, houses are expensive, but shame is expensive because shame costs us opportunities. If you don't speak up in a room, when people are putting up their businesses and you don't speak up for yourself, you'll miss out on opportunities. And let me tell you something, no one is going to take a chance on you. Not even your husband, not even your wife. No one is taking a chance on you. You better show up for yourself. You better put yourself out there. Then shame costs us planning because you're so ashamed to share that, you know what, we cannot afford this wedding. I'm ashamed. But then you're like, okay, let's just get this, let's get it into that. And then you're coming out of a wedding with a lot of debt. You're not able to save. You're now telling the landlord, we just got married. Or you're even forced to invite the landlord to your wedding so they can now experience it and feel bad to ask you for that rent. But so anyway, also shame makes us make decisions based off of fear. And let me tell you something, children of God, you've not been given the spirit of fear, but of power and of sound mind. So, and another thing that shame does to us is that it puts us in isolation. It makes you feel like you're definitely the only one who is this deep in debt. You're definitely the only one who is not making money. You're definitely the only one who is not saving. Has someone ever spoken about something and then you realize that, it was just not me all along? That's why I think a lot of people come to creatives and say, you're so relatable. I relate to this story. I too went through this and that. But your shame has kept you in a space of feeling like you're the only one, and it keeps you beaten down. It keeps you thinking that you will never come out of this because you've not been able to talk about it. So shame makes us hiding. When you're hiding, you're not learning, you're not growing, you're definitely not building wealth. The first step to financial freedom is not just saving money, it's confronting shame. And I'll tell you, as a creative, a lot of creatives, because today I was invited in the capacity of a creative, that income is unpredictable. Because I'll tell you the truth, the one thing that I'm sure of is my salary, my allowances that accrue to my other job, but I'm not so sure of how many brands are going to come this month or the next month, but how do you prepare for these uncertainties? So I have learned to plan. I have learned to plan ahead, and most times, if something comes to me in between there that I've not planned for, that I've not figured out, it will shake me. It will disorganize me. But that's when emergency funds come in. And as a creative, you will not have consistent gigs. You will not have, first of all, there's no pension. There's no pension for content creators, you have to create the pension funds. For those who are side hustling, we all know that there's no pension for you. If your side hustle is not in like a full-time job, it's a creative, it's a business, you have to create a pension fund for yourself, and that starts today. And then there's the fatigue. I will tell you, friends, that days I'll come from night shift and I have to go and do a gig. And I've been awake. My night shift is about 15 hours, from 4 p.m. to about 10 a.m. And then I'll come from there and have to shoot videos and stuff. And I'm like, when does all this end? But then other times I'm like, you know what, it's for, because sometimes I'm like, it has to pay for this or that. You know, so that fatigue is something that is accrued to so many people that run so many side gigs. So we need to redefine wealth and have wealth look like the peace of mind over being a flashy lifestyle. No, you don't owe anyone a certain lifestyle. You don't. I remember the ignorance of me when I bought a Volkswagen. Oh, love that brand. I love that car. I did a reel telling people poverty did not hide me. I am not hiding this car. I refuse to tint that car, friends. The sun would burn me, but I'll be like, yes, yes, to the haters. But anyway, there was no hater. I was a hater of my own self. But anyway, when I got an accident and someone had told me, get comprehensive insurance for it. And I was like, so I asked someone in insurance, and this is why, like how they said, knowledge is power. Someone told me, oh, it will be about 5 million for it. When they said that, I did not go ahead to actually research or find out. So I didn't get comprehensive insurance because I felt like, do I want to get 5 million at once and pay it to an insurance company? I don't think so. Friends, it's after the accident that I realized that my insurance was about like 2 million. I have that money. I could have had it. But until the car was totaled to nothing, and I was being asked by like my different friends, so did you have comprehensive? Thank God you had comprehensive, right? And I'm like, no, I didn't have it. So I used to tell myself, after experiencing discomfort, I'm never going back to Toyota. Even God knows, let us agree. And I would pray and bang that steering in tongues and say, not going back to Toyota. And friends, I own a Toyota Vitz today. So I remember telling my partner that I saw the car that I want the new RAV4, the new model. And he's like, how much was it? I'm like, 120 million. He's like, in this season now? Yes. And I'm like, because you see, and sometimes we've abused mental health. I'm like, you see, for me, I am a child of God, and I feel like I live in a different economy. I exist in a different economy, and yes, I know that if I moved funds around, I can afford this car. And he's like, so he sits, I feel like he has now come to understand that I'm like a child. So he will let me talk. Then after like 2 days, he'll come to me and he'll be like, Hattie pussy. I think maybe we could get a small car in the meantime. And, you can use it because it's going to be, because, it's inconveniencing for you with the matatus. I have to pick you, drop you, so your timelines are not working anymore. I kept quiet. It was hard. So anyway, I go and pray about it, and I see the car. I have the pictures zooming in and out, and I'm like, this is what I want. And I speak to the bond guy. I'm like, can you take like 60 million at first? He's like, make 70. I'm like, I can make 70, okay. And then one day I wake up, walk into the bond, and I'm like, which I asked the guy, I talked to a friend of mine, do you have a dealer? Yes, show me the smallest cars you have, the cheapest. And friends, a Vitz is not even cheap. Cars are so expensive lately. So they show me the cars. I walk in that very day, and I'm like, I need this car. He's like, okay, yeah, we'll process it later. I'm like, no, I'm waiting for night shift. Give it to me. He's like, oh, we have to wash it. And I'm like, no, I'll go. You feel like, and I remember sitting there, and I'm like, grateful. I felt grateful that I even had like a bond to sell, because I went to the bank, and I was like, I'm selling off a bond so that I'm able to, get myself a car. Because I thought to myself, do I sell this plot of land here, but now it's valuable? Why would I sell land, an asset, to buy a liability that could end up in an accident like what happened last time? And I told myself, unlike before, when I say that I'm not getting comprehensive. Imagine I didn't get comprehensive on a Volkswagen, but I'm getting comprehensive on a Vitz. So, but that is learning, that is redefining success. That is knowing that you have to be cushioned at all times. Lately, I've been telling people, like, I go to hospital and I literally pay nothing and walk out. It's not that I pay nothing. I have health insurance. Now, if you didn't know, public service does not give you health insurance. But I had to, as someone who is searching for financial freedom, I had to step out of it and find myself health insurance. Because I don't care what you are doing for your other employers. Personally, I am not going to put my colleagues through fundraising anymore, not when I can help it. And yeah, it's time to rest. So real wealth is freedom, and freedom is saying no. I love the freedom I have to say no to certain brands that do not align with my values. I've had brands that come to me and they're selling something and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I actually don't drink alcohol like that. I don't drink alcohol enough to sell it. And I've seen what abuse of alcohol has done to people. That's not what my brand represents, so no. And that is because I know that I'm not going to die that month when I didn't work for an alcohol brand. The freedom to rest. I'm not resting well, but we'll get there. The freedom to build at your own pace without debt knocking on your door. I am still working on this freedom. I'm hoping that after the Centonomy class, I'll be able to get out of it completely. And yeah, that is it. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Sure. There we go. Thank you. Now, all our wonderful people online have said that we have neglected them. And therefore, I'm not neglecting you at all anymore. All the questions from now on are from the online department. The guys in the room, we will meet here, isn't it? After, we'll meet. We're just about done. We're just about done. Here's a question I saw here. Prim, this is for you. How do you, I'm trying to put it in words that are good for this session. How do you get over that shame, not the shame. How do you get over the fear of what others think about you? How did you do it? I think, are you doing it? Lately I have very honest conversations with myself. Yeah. We have to look inwards. And for sometimes it even looks like me speaking as me and also speaking as another person. And I'll say something like, this person said this and that to you. Is that true? Yeah. Does it actually define you? Yeah. No. When you say out these things loud, it helps you to understand that what other people are thinking of you, what they're saying, is really none of your business. And the truth is, most times people are not thinking about us. Did you know that? People are not thinking about us. Because sometimes you'll even be speaking to someone, and you're speaking to them face to face like this, and their mind is somewhere else, and you just see them nodding. So if the person you're speaking to is not even listening to you or minding your business, how about someone who is not even looking at you? But also, what has the fear done for me? Yeah. What has the shame done for me? Okay, let's say I tried that. I tried the fear. I tried the shame. What did it do for me? Yeah. Nothing. So why don't we now try another approach in this coming season, which is remove the shame from yourself, undress yourself of shame, and step forward boldly. Hey. Here's a personal question from me. Where do you get this boldness? I pray. Oh, I really pray. That's the best answer that I've heard. I pray. Guys, let's put our hands together for Prim. Hasn't she done an amazing job? I want to tell you a short story about Prim. The first time I met her was through a Zoom call last week. And this is how it was. Prim interviewed me. She was asking me questions. Does my brand align with yours? If I come for this talk, will my people who are in my group, will they benefit? She's so caring about that brand that she was interviewing. I'm asking you to come speak at my event, but she was interviewing us. That's a kind of character that we look for, and we're so grateful for that. I'm going to ask my colleague Joanne if you can join me up here on the stage, please, with the items that you have there for our dear guests. And then for those who are graduates from the first ever cohort of Centonomy 101 Uganda, please prepare yourselves. This is the time to powder. This is the time to, everything that you need to do, please be ready. You're coming up next. You, as we organize that, somebody was asking, here it is. Can a startup register for VAT despite being below the threshold, and what's the impact?
That's a very beautiful question.
Yes.
From Anonymous. Okay, cool. So yes, a startup can register for VAT. First of all, in the first place, you have to know what VAT is. It's value added tax. So, in order to register for VAT, there's a threshold of 150 million or 37.5 million, 150 million in 12 months consecutively at any time, or 37.5 million 3 months consecutively at a time. So in this case, this person wants to register for VAT because I understand there are companies that require you to be VAT registered to do business with you. So the impact of registering for VAT is VAT, you have to file. From the onset, two things happen. If you're registered for VAT, you must have IFRIS, and number two, you must be registered. Then in order to register for it, you must be on IFRIS, and at the same time, you must file by the 15th day of the following month. For example, we're in May. So from 1st to 30th May, you transact. By 15th of June, you should be filing for May. At the same time, you must be paying for it. So the thing about VAT, it's good as long as you're complying. Now, failure to comply. Compliance means following through with your taxes as you're supposed to do, which means if you do not file, you're not being compliant. If you do not pay the tax, you're not being compliant. Something as simple, just file, pay, that's it. But failure to pay, there is a interest charge. Failure to pay, you could file, like let me say, 2 million, and then you don't pay the money. 2% interest on that outstanding amount due. VAT is compounding interest. It's going to keep on compounding on the outstanding balance until you pay the money. The other one would be the penalty for not filing the tax in the first place. In case you're VAT registered, the moment you're registered, you should file for the following month, because when you do not file, they're going to charge you 200,000 per month for not filing in the first place. That's why most companies avoid it. I mean, if you don't have to do it, why should you? So if it's going to benefit you, for example, getting deals and tenders with government, great. There are some big companies that you can never transact with unless you're VAT registered. Amazing. So if that's the vision and the goal, what Waitaka was saying about, like, what are your goals? If that's the goal for you, go ahead. But personally, if you do not have business registering for VAT, don't do it in the first place. I have so many people show up at my desk. Do you know that money, because it's an 18% charge, there's always disappears for some people. Someone sat at my desk, he had 46 million, he was doing government work, and he was getting paid, actually. That's the first person I've had getting paid on time. So I sat and looked at him and I told him, but boss, you brought your contracts, what happened? And then he told me, Madam, I ate the money. I looked at him and we laughed together, and he was like, Naziria, as in I cannot say anything, just help me figure out a payment plan. So if you don't have to do it, don't do it. But if you can, go ahead and do it.
And a big part of this is that in the class, you'll have over 2.5 hours to engage with this material with Hauda.
Yes, please.
And she will answer them in detail. All
Thank
right,
you.
We have the last group who are there. If you can help me out just one more time. Thank you.
Gloria Dusabe.
And we are done.
Gloria Dusabe.
Thank you. On this earth, not only to survive, but to live abundantly, and that each one of us can create wealth. None of us in this room doesn't have the ability to generate wealth, but that ability only comes from God. So if you don't mind, please stand as we say a prayer to close this session. For the graduates, we have a small gift for you as you go. So please make sure you come to the corner here and see Joanne for the graduates. And for everybody else, please ensure that you register for the class And we'll be sending all of you details about what's happening in the class. Come here as quickly. Yes. Somebody's asking if you can pay. You can pay cash at the desk at the back there. Yes, please, you can. Yes. Please stand to your feet as we pray. Thank you, God, for this day. Thank you for an answered prayer, 10 years in waiting. That, Lord, we've had a successful open day for Centonomy in Uganda. We've not only done that, but we've had a class graduating who are implementing and already building wealth. Thank you for the amazing speakers who gave their time for today to share their experiences, to encourage us to build wealth. And thank you for everybody who gave us their time today. All those hundreds who are online, the hundreds who are here in this room, who are on their journey of wealth creation. We pray that this would just be the start, this would be the catalyst, and in a few weeks we would meet in the class and begin to see what our potential fully is. I pray as we leave this place and go for our lunch and meet with other relatives and people and do all the other things that we do, that you'll bless us and keep us safe. For we pray this all in Jesus' name. Amen. God bless you all and see you in class. It's been amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. God bless.